Welcome, ladies, degenerates, and gentlemen, back to the DeGents podcast. We are less than 24 hours out from NFL kickoff on Thursday night. Um,
Yes,
you will be
sir.
you will be seeing this probably a couple hours before kickoff on Thursday night around 8:30. But we are here Wednesday night, late night, ready to run down at least a few divisions, if not more. We're here. We made it to the big leagues. Big Rich, how we doing?
We doing very good knowing that we got NFL football tomorrow night, man. Just coming back from a softball game, so the batteries were emptied on the field, but I got the couple spare batteries to go. So let's get
There we
into
go.
it.
Hell
Let's
yeah.
get into it.
Yeah, we start
But yeah,
off.
I'm stoked. Let's do it. I'm
Oh yeah.
stoked.
I cannot wait. We start off with a banger in KC, Baltimore KC. We'll get to it. We're gonna do some picks for week one here at the end. Um, hell yeah, man. We made it back. We
Best time of the
are
year.
I can't believe we're here. I can't believe it's already September. We're
We
gonna
made we
start.
made it through the dog days.
I know the dog days were tough. They were real tough.
Tough,
We
very
did
tough.
miss a couple things while we were gone between the last episode. Trent Williams signed. Brandon Ayuk signed. I don't know if that happened. And then there was one more contract, I think,
Did
but I
C
forget.
did CD sign since?
Well, yeah, it might have been CD. It's been just about a week since we done it. So those are the three big
Yeah.
ones. Still no Jamar Chase.
He suited up for practice though.
Yeah, but
So
no contract. Anyways, we're
I
doing
think I
NFC.
think I don't think he would have suited up though without there being significant
Yeah. Well, he's
push
gonna
through on Fox.
I think he's gonna play regardless. No
I
contract
hope
yet.
so.
But we are gonna do
Correct.
AFC North, so we'll get there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but anyways, just wanted to address that. We're full steam ahead into NFL Week One, and we're going to start off in the NFC North. We will go from just like we did in the West, we'll go from least likely to win the division to most likely. So that means we start with the Vikings. They are 11-1 to
Yeah.
win the division, 40-1 to win the conference, plus 300 to make the playoffs, 80-1 for the Super Bowl, and their win total is a 6.5. They went 7-10 last season, 2-4 in the division. Obviously, they lost Kirk to Atlanta, but they went and drafted JJ McCarthy, which unfortunately is out for the year. That sucks. They are looking for a guy to be their franchise guy, but they did go get Sam Darnold. That's a big but. I understand. I'm a little high on Sam Darnold. He's coming into his seventh year. He's going to
Whoa,
be the vet there.
whoa, whoa. You say you're even a little bit high on Sam Darnold? Are those the words that came out of your mouth?
Well, the expectation is for him to suck and get replaced in week four. I think he, I think that he can be a substantially decent quarterback for this team with what he has around him.
Yeah.
Um, the 7-year bump, that's what I call it.
7-year bump, man. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think he's going to surprise some people. I'm not saying that he's going to be a top 12, top 15 quarterback, but I think he can get the ball to the playmakers that they have on the outside, being
Yeah. I
Justin
mean,
Jefferson. And now they add Aaron Jones,
yeah.
uh,
I mean,
Jordan Addison.
outside of the quarterback situation, I mean, this team offensively, I mean, shouldn't skip a beat. JJ McCarthy was playing. Obviously, you'd expect a little bit of a rookie. What's the word I'm looking for here? Kind of not him to perform up to what he could be the first couple of weeks. Sucks that he's out for the year. I thought he was a good fit for this team, but I mean, once Hawkinson comes back, I can see why you're saying you're a little bit high on Darnold because he has the weapons at his disposal.
Yeah, all
So
he has to do is manage the football, not turn it over, and he'll be fine. And this team
yeah,
can win some games.
yeah,
but the division also has improved around him. So I'm not saying he's going to light it up,
Yep.
but he'll be okay. They add Aaron Jones to replace Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison, who had also left. On the defensive side, they add Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Greenard, Blake Cashman, Shaquille Griffin, Jerry Tillery, which their defense was obviously a problem last year. They had holes everywhere. They added a couple pieces on the offensive line as well. Um, again, it sucks that JJ's out, but I think Sam Darnold is gonna step in his place and be okay. And then realistically, I'm saying that because I like Kevin O'Connell as a coach. I think he's very solid. I think he coaches his team well. And I
Yep.
think we can keep Sam Darnold playing at a decent level to win some games. That being said, with a win total at 6.5, I'm not about to go empty the bank account on that. So
No. 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 Yeah. No. I mean, I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. Their offense should be pretty solid as long as Darnold can take care of the football. I think O'Connell um, will be calling plays more so conservatively. Um, I just don't think he wants Donald to turn the ball over a whole lot. So I don't know. It's kind of on the play calling a little bit, not to put him in bad spots, but he's just got to take care of the football. And offensively, I think they should be okay. But like you said, defensively, not a very good football team a year ago. A couple good additions there, so hopefully they can fill some holes there. And yeah, I think 7-10 seems realistic. So let's run through the schedule, see what they got.
yeah, that was my prediction. And they did draft Dallas Turner out of Alabama. They really focused on the defense in the offseason. But
Yep.
yeah, let's run through the schedule. My prediction was 7-10. And let me pull up the schedule real quick. Uh, so they start at the Giants. I think they can win that game.
Yeah.
So we'll give them 1-0. Then they're home against San Fran, 1-1. Home against Houston, 1-2.
Yep. Probably.
At Green Bay, 1-3.
Yep.
Home versus the Jets. That's a London game. So they're the home team in London. Probably 1-4.
Yep.
Uh,
Realistically, I don't
then they're
know. It could be a get back game for Sam Darnold.
yeah, and
The
the
Sam Darnold game.
the London games are so weird too, and
Yeah.
and we'll get to the Jets because I do have the AFC East done, but
Yep.
I mean you never know what can happen over there.
Yep.
But 1-4 back home against the Lions. I did have them splitting against the Lions, to be honest.
Okay.
So
I'm
we'll
with
give
it.
them the home game. That's 2-4 at the Rams, 2-5. Home against the Colts, 3-5. I have them
Yep.
beating the Colts. At Jacksonville, I have them beating there, so 4-5. At Tennessee, they get back to 5-5. At Chicago, I think they lose
Yep.
5-6. Home versus Arizona, 6-6. Home versus Atlanta, 6-7. Home versus the Bears, they're gonna split there, so we'll go 6-8. And I think the last game I ran through these quick, so I might have mixed up one early, but I can see them beating the Seahawks. I'm not very high on the Seahawks this year. And then they go home versus Green Bay and at the Lions in the last week, which could
Mhm.
be another game where people don't play for Detroit. So
Yep.
right around 7-10. Again, not something I'm put my money on, but I
Yeah.
think this offense will definitely surprise some people,
Yep.
considering losing Kirk and the kind of stigma around Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
He's a vet that's going to come in and get. I mean, you have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and T.J. Hawkinson when he comes back. You just have to get them the ball.
I got you. No, I think that's. I mean, I think 7-10 might might be a stretch. Just, I mean, I think you gave them wins at the Jags and at the Titans. I think the Jaguars are going to be pretty solid this year. I think the Titans might surprise people as well. So, I mean, two tough road games. So we'll see. But 7-10, I think, might be 8 and 9 might be their ceiling. 7 and 10 is probably a good season. 5 and 11, 5 and 12, 6 and 11, probably more likely, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. I just
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the Jags this year for whatever reason.
you're just a big Sam Darnold fan. I get it.
Oh, huge, yeah, bro. Okay, so next least team in the North is the Bears. 7 and 10 last year, 2 and 4 in the division. We have a win total of 9.5, plus 280 to win the division, 15-1 in the conference, minus 110 to make the playoffs, and 35-1 to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, they draft Caleb Williams, number 1 overall. They also get Rome Odunze to add another weapon. Keenan Allen, the veteran receiver, DeAndre Swift in the backfield. Gerald Everett to add to the passing and run game. They add Kevin Byard to the defensive backfield, which is already stud filled, and Jonathan Owens. Obviously, we all know the disaster it was with Justin Fields. They never really showed him his full potential, and all of a sudden, this team is star-studded on the offensive side of the ball. They took in a bunch of free agents. Adunze, in my opinion, is 1A, 1B with Marv Harrison coming out of the draft at the wide receiver position. Uh, they went all in to get him what he needed to succeed. And after a long drought of non-successful seasons, the Bears are set to improve a lot and possibly next year contend for something serious. Um, I have their prediction at 8 and 9. I think they'll compete and beat teams that are lesser than them, but the schedule is not a cakewalk. And I think as much as the raw talent is there with Caleb Williams, I think there's going to be a lot of close games with even or better teams that he may struggle to close the deal in a last possession type of game. So I think they'll have a good season. And I think Caleb Williams will show big flashes, but I think they're a year or two away from being a team that you can really count on to cover those betting odds.
For sure. I agree with you. I think they should be a drastically improved team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Drafting Caleb Williams, I think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. I think the two that were taken after him will be better. I don't know. It might be a little bias on my end, but
Well, at least for number 3, yeah. I can see Jaden Daniels being the best of the class, but
yeah,
not sold on Drake May yet.
um, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. But I think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. DJ Moore is obviously an elite wide receiver. They bring in Keenan Allen. He's definitely in his latter years here, but last year, before getting injured, towards the end of the year, he was on career record pace, numbers wise. He was having a career year, so I think he still has some in the tank for sure. Um, Odunze, how do you pronounce? Is it Odunze or is it
Roma Dunze, yeah.
Roma Odunze? I've always struggled with his name last year. I heard 3 or 4 different announcers call it 3 or 4 different things. So
That's usually how it
Odunze,
goes.
usually how it goes, correct. But yeah, I think they're going to be a better team. But I do agree with you. I think they are that 1 or 2 year away type of thing. They'll compete. They'll show some promise. And maybe we're looking at a playoff team come 2025. If they make it this year, I wouldn't be 100% surprised. But I think
Yeah, they
they,
could sneak in a wild card for sure.
yeah, yeah, I think especially in the division with Green Bay and the Lions. I mean, might be one of the more difficult divisions in football. So
Yeah. And the defense showed a lot of promise in the second half of the year, and they arguably have the best defensive backfield in the NFL. So that's huge. And they added a couple pieces there. I think offensively, Keenan Allen staying healthy is going to be huge because he's the type of guy where he's like a D-Hop type of guy where
yeah,
for Caleb in his first year, if he stays healthy, he's going to be open and a guy that you can get the ball out quick to. If he
hmm
can get the ball out of his hands quick, get 7, 8, 9 yards on a first or second down play, that's going to be huge to like progress the offense as you go along in the year. But he has had his injury history, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, um, I think they could surprise some people. But 8 and 9 is my prediction. I'm not going to go all in yet. We can run through the schedule.
let's do it. Let's run it up.
They start the year at home versus the Titans. I believe I gave them this win.
Yep,
So
I have
1-0, travel
that.
to Houston.
That's one of my plays. We'll get into it. It's one of my plays is the Titans, but we can move on.
I may be on the same side with you there, plus the 4. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
1-0 to the Bears, and then at Houston, we'll give them 1-1. At Indy, I like 2-1. I'm not sold on Indianapolis this year,
Mm-hmm.
even at home.
Okay.
I think they lose at home to the Rams, so 2-2. Beat Carolina at home, 3-2. London game versus the Jags. I don't know what I gave them here, but we'll say 2-3 because Jags are big in London, so we'll give them
That
that.
yeah, that would be 3-3.
Oh yeah, yeah, they beat Carolina 3-3. Uh, at Washington 4-3. At Arizona,
4-4.
yeah,
Back to back roadies, East Coast, West Coast.
yeah, 4-4, and then I have them beating the Pats to go to 5-4 at home.
No chance.
Home versus the Packers, 5-5.
Yeah.
At the Vikings, I think I had them
They're
winning that game.
they're home versus the Vikings here.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry. Home
Yeah.
versus Vikings 6-5.
Yeah.
At Detroit 6-6. At San Fran 6-7. At the Vikings, I had them sweeping the Vikings.
Okay.
So what are we at? 7-7, right?
7-7. Yeah.
Home versus the Lions 7-8. Home versus Seattle 8-8. And then I think I gave them one other one in there, even though they're at Green Bay. I think Green Bay will be out of it there. So that's my 9-8. Could have been mixed up in there. Like I said, I went through quick. So
Your prediction was 8-9.
oh, what did I say?
9-8.
Oh yeah. Well, right around the
But
same. Either way, I'm not
either
taking
way,
anything.
yeah.
I ran through quick just to see what my initial thoughts were. But yeah,
Yep.
I don't know. They're going to be good. I like Caleb Williams, and they obviously have set him up for success
For sure.
defensively, and the defense was really good last year. So we'll see.
Yeah. Justin
Next best.
Justin Fields must be pissed that they're getting all these weapons for Caleb Williams. They didn't do
Yeah,
shit for him.
he was throwing to, I mean, Darnell Mooney for 4 years.
Yeah, DJ Moore for 1 year, and he actually didn't do all too fucking bad.
Allen Robinson, I broke my leg for 2 of the 4. Next best in the division will be the Packers. They are at plus 230 to win it, the division. 9.5 win total, plus 750 to win the NFC, minus 155 for the playoffs, and 18-1 for the Super Bowl. They went 9-8 last year, 4-2 in the division. They snuck in the playoffs after Jordan Love came on strong. They added Josh Jacobs, Malik Willis as a backup. They drafted Marshawn Lloyd at running back out of USC, which is going to come into play because AJ Dillon is out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
They added Xavier McKinney in the defensive backfield, Jordan Morgan out of Arizona, which I believe is a defensive back as well. Could be wrong. Javon Bullard out of no, Javon Bullard is the defensive back. Jordan Morgan, I think, is an offensive lineman out of Arizona, and Javon Bullard is a defensive back out of Georgia in the draft. Like I said, Jordan Love came on strong at the end of the 2023 season, and I believe this podcast bet the Packers win total and possibly division last year. I think that's what we did in our
Yeah.
preview. Um, I think Jordan Love is a star. I think he's only going to get better.
Yep.
The one thing I do worry about this year with AJ Dillon being out is if Josh Jacobs goes down at any point for more than 2 to 3 weeks, this team does not have the depth at running back.
Mm-hmm.
I think Marshawn Lloyd will be a good running back, but in a rookie season, asking him to be the starter is going to be tough. Um, the young wide receiver core, though, is very good. Dotavian Wicks, Christian Watson, and what's the last one?
Romeo Dobbs.
Romeo Dobbs. Those guys are
Jaden
coming
Reed.
strong. And Jaden Reed. They have weapons. They did add a couple key pieces on defense. Xavier McKinney, like I mentioned, and Javon Bullard to shore up the defensive backfield. They still have Rashawn Gary up front. Um, Again, the only thing I worry about is depth at running back. This team likes to run the ball. That's their identity.
Yep.
They If Jacobs goes down for more than 2, 3, 4 weeks, it's going to be tough. But I do really like Love, and one of my futures is the win total of over 9.5. I have
Oh,
them. I have them going 11-6. I think they should at least win 10 games as long as everyone stays healthy. But I think they could win up to 12 or 13 games this year. I'm very high on them.
nice. I love it. I absolutely love it. I just like this Packers team. I think the way they do it, the way they play ball, it's a little bit different, but it works. You know what I'm saying? And it's great stuff to watch. And I like the addition of Josh Jacobs, but like you said, the lack of depth at running back could be troublesome because Josh Jacobs is known for missing a game or two here and there. Hopefully, nothing extended for their sake.
Yeah, a game or two should be fine, but a
Yeah.
long-term injury would cripple this team because you can't ask Love to drop back 40 times a game. That's
No.
not the type of team that they are.
Nope. I agree there. But yeah, no, I like this Packers team. Let's run through the schedule and let's see what I think about the 11-6 prediction there.
They start on Friday actually in Brazil.
Where are they playing in Brazil? Is it Rio or is it Sao
It has
Paulo?
to be somewhere near Rio. I don't know exactly, but I would assume somewhere near Rio.
Sao Paulo.
Excuse me. And they play the Eagles. I gave them a win.
Ooh, does that mean you have a play here?
That is one of my plays for the week. I am on the Packers money.
My boy.
So we go 1-0, and then they're home versus India. I gave them a win there to go 2-0. At the Titans in week 3, I gave them the win there to go 3-0.
Okay.
Home against Minnesota, I gave them a win there to go 4-0. And then they get their first loss in Los Angeles against the Rams to go 4-1.
Yep.
Home against the Cardinals, 5-1.
Okay.
Home against Houston, 5-2. At Jacksonville, 6-2. Home versus the Lions. I'm gonna split them. So you go 7-2 or 6-3 here. Either way, they're gonna get a loss or a win.
Yep.
We'll go 6-3, even though they're at home. At the Bears, 7-3. Home versus the Niners, 7-4. Home versus Miami, 8-4. At the Lions, that was the other one. I think I gave them a loss.
Yeah, 8-5.
So 8-5. At Seattle, I have 9-5. Home versus New Orleans, I have 10-5. At Minnesota, 11-5. And get me to 12. So
Yep.
there was one game in there. But again, the end of the season is all going to come down to what it is. So 11 or 12 wins is right
Yeah.
where I had them at.
The one game where I think they could definitely drop in that week 7 through 9 stretch where they play home against the Texans, at the Jaguars, and home against the Lions. It's definitely different in the NFL. Like the look ahead spots aren't really as big as they are in college. But
Definitely. No.
going to Jacksonville to play, what I think, in my opinion, is a definitely going to be a solid team going to Jacksonville and then gearing up for a home game against the Lions, which is
Yeah.
massive for them. So
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
Jags is one of those games where they could definitely drop one. But other than that, I do like the over 9.5 too. I think 10, 11 wins is very, very likely for this team.
Yeah. I mean, I have the floor at 10 wins. I think this team is really good. And
Yeah.
it's really, to me, the only thing that matters is if Josh Jacobs stays healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, I mean, Marshawn Lloyd should be a good running back, but he's also dealing with I think he's dealing with like a hamstring, so he could be out the first 1, 2 weeks.
Yep.
But if he stays healthy behind him and Josh Jacobs is just gonna chug along like he's been doing in the NFL, I really like this team. So, but yeah,
Yeah. No, I like it too.
10,
I like. I
11,
like.
12 wins. I like the over. That's one of my plays. I highlighted it. But let's move on to the Detroit Lions. 12-5 last year, 4-2 in the division. This year they have a win total of 10.5. They're plus 130 to win the division, plus 550 to win the NFC, minus 245 to make the playoffs, and 12-1 to win the Super Bowl. Some very crazy odds for the Detroit Lions, but well deserved after a fantastic season last year.
100%.
They added Kevin Zeitler from the Ravens on the O line, Graham Glasgow, which is another O lineman, DJ Reader on the defensive side, Donovan Peoples-Jones to replace, I believe, Josh Reynolds, who
Josh
left
Reynolds.
them.
Yep. Josh Reynolds is out.
They add Zonovan Knight behind David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs, Marcus Davenport, Amik Robertson. They had a tough loss last year in the NFC Championship game, obviously, but overall a success. They added a few key pieces on the O line. They obviously still have Penei Sewell. They focused a little bit on the defense with DJ Reader's a huge piece. Marcus Davenport from the Saints. So this team is, I mean, I literally wrote in my notes, dare I say, expectations of making it to the Super Bowl, which I never thought I'd be saying about a Lions team, but this
Right.
team is very, very good. And Dan Campbell is a damn good coach. And I'm buying in. I'm buying into the Lions this year. They have a win total of 10.5, which is high. I may not be putting any futures on them, but as the season goes along, don't be surprised if I throw in a Lions Super Bowl ticket. 12-1 now. Not my favorite bet, but if I can see it and they stay healthy, man, this team is good.
Yeah. No, they're definitely a good team. Um, I actually remember it was a few years ago, and there was a couple Dan Campbell interviews, and I was like, God, the Lions just can't figure it out. They can't get it right. Like they hiring this guy, and boy, was I wrong.
No,
There's there is no NFL coach I'd rather play for than this guy. Just a pure
he's
motivator. He knows how to get his boys going, and
the best.
you know, like him a lot, like this team a lot. Obviously, last year they made it to the NFC Championship game. Fantastic team. Win total 10.5. You expect them to probably, if they're going to fight for a 1 seed, you expect them to eclipse that win total there of 10.5. I'm not going to play it, but I do like this Lions team. Like
Yeah,
them a lot.
I think the hype shows in the lines. I predicted them at 11-6. I could see them getting 12 or 13 wins,
Yeah.
but the odds are just a little too juiced for me to lay it
Yeah.
down because everybody's buying the Lions hype.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. But like, it's deserved. It's definitely deserved.
No, 100%, but gambling wise, I'm gonna lay off and let them go. Like I said, mid-season, if they find themselves in a tough spot before a big game and I can get them closer to 20-1 to win the Super Bowl, I will probably be taking that.
Yeah, yeah, maybe a 10-1 to win the conference or something.
Yeah, yeah, get myself in a hedge spot at the very least.
Yeah,
Um, Schedule wise, they start at home against the Rams. This one was tough for me. Um, I think the Rams are going to want revenge.
yep,
Stafford
definitely.
is healthy. The offense is great. I believe I gave them a loss in week
Okay,
one.
okay.
So they
I
start
think
0
I
1.
think I think this is a good spot too to maybe quiet the hype a tiny bit.
Right.
So everyone's like, oh, it's the Lions. They're still a good team, but yeah, maybe they're
And
not as good as you
they'll be
think.
fine in the end, but I gave
Yeah,
them a loss to start off.
yeah.
So 0 1, but then they stay at home against Tampa. So 1-1, then they go to Arizona. I have them at 2-1. Home against the Seahawks on a Monday night. I have them at 3-1. At the Cowboys, 3-1. I think I gave them a win here to go to 4-1.
Oof. Okay.
Did I? No, no, no. We'll go 3-2 there.
Okay. I was about to say that's gonna be a
Yeah,
tough
we'll go 3-2 there. I can't I mean, like I said, I ran through them quick, so I don't exactly remember. But 3-2 at Minnesota, 4-2. Home versus the Titans, 5-2. At the Packers, I had them splitting. So we'll give them a loss here, which is 4-3 at Houston. I like
one.
them winning this
Five,
game,
5-3.
five and
The
three.
Packers would be 5-3.
So 6-3 after Houston. I have them winning against
Yep.
Houston at home. Home against Jacksonville, 7-3, 8-3 at Indianapolis. Home against Chicago, 9-3. Splitting with Green Bay would be 9-4.
Yep.
Uh,
Home versus the Bills.
I think I gave them this one 10-4, 11-4, 11-5, losing at San Fran last week. 11-5 at Chicago in week 16.
Yep.
Win. Oh, and then Minnesota.
Yeah.
Oh,
12-5, 11-6. That seems very doable for this team. That's for sure.
yeah, I have them at 11-6. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I said
I
I was
can
a
see
little
that.
conservative in predicting it.
Yeah, for sure. But no, I mean, this is a good team. They, I mean, with looking at your notes here, the dare I say expectations of making it to the Super Bowl. Like there was not a day in my life when I thought I would say that about the
Right.
goddamn
I was
Lions.
typing it out and I was like, no way. I'm saying this. It's true. I
this
mean, the team is
these
that good.
these words in the same sentence just don't make sense.
And Goff really had a rebirth when he
Mhm.
went there.
Oh yeah,
I mean, there's a way you can get a Goff MVP ticket at like 25, 30-1 too, which is I love.
you think
But
so?
yeah,
I mean, he's gonna have to go like 35 in 6 picks or something like that.
Gibbs is gonna have 20 plus touchdowns this year from scrimmage,
Think so?
receiving and rushing if he stays healthy. No
You should
question
put
in my
in
mind.
you should put in a Gibbs Offensive Player of the Year ticket.
I did already. I said in the last pod.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. Gibbs
Oh, you
offensive player
did.
of the
You did.
year and Lad McConkey offensive rookie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You did say that. I remember the McConkey one. I didn't remember the Gibbs one.
Oh yeah, it's in there, baby. Okay, so that does it for the NFC North. We're going to move on to the AFC North, with the least likely winner being the Steelers. 8 to
Yep.
1 to win the division, 7.5 win total, 30 to 1 to win the AFC, plus 185 to win or to make it to the playoffs, and 50 to 1 to make the Super Bowl. 10-7 last season. Don't know how. 5-1 in the division is nuts
Insane.
with
Absolutely
that
insane.
team.
Especially
Um,
in that division too. Like
yeah,
what?
I mean, Mike Tomlin is unbelievable. But
Yeah.
they obviously add Russ Wilson, Justin Fields to replace Kenny Pickett. They announced Russell is going to be the starter. They also add Patrick Queen on the defensive side of the ball to go along with TJ Watt. Van Jefferson at a wide receiver position, along with Roman Wilson in the draft. Quez Watkins as well. Cordell Patterson as a special teams
Gadget guy.
running back type of guy. They drafted Troy Fatanu out of Washington on the O line. Again, Mike Tomlin is just a beast. I don't know how this team went 10-7 last year. When I looked at it, I was like, that can't be right.
Yeah.
But they're entering a new era here. They announced Russ as the starter. The defense is obviously good. TJ Watt is arguably the best defensive player in the league, along with Myles Garrett, in my opinion.
Yep.
And I think I match that opinion with most people. Um, Russ obviously had a tough go in Denver. I don't think he was quite as bad as the optics, as bad as that team was. They did win 5 or 6 games in a row down the stretch to give them a chance to make the playoff. Excuse me, give them a chance to make the playoffs. But he's not the Russ we've seen before. And I question why they wouldn't put Fields in. Only because he's younger, he has the rushing upside, he has potential to be a guy that they can keep around and give this defense and team a chance to like actually be a playoff team.
Yep.
I think Russ will take care of the ball, but he's also going to take a lot of sacks and he just doesn't move like he used to, which was an advantage. Um, anyways, if Russ stays under center for the whole year, I think they probably go 8-9, 9-8 again. This team hasn't won a playoff game since 2016.
Yeah.
So why not go with Fields and give yourself a chance to, I don't know, figure out what he's got. He didn't have shit in Chicago. You at least have George Pickens. You drafted Roman Wilson. The O line is decent. Give him a chance, in my opinion. I predicted at 7-10 strictly because of the QB situation.
Yep.
I think as good as Tomlin is, I think there's going to be a lot of guys in the camp where, hey, Russ is good. He's solid. The locker room will be split. There's going to be half the team that wants Fields to start, half the team that wants Wilson to start, and you start Wilson for 4 weeks and he sucks, and then you go to Fields and he hasn't played. So it's like I don't know. Their win total's at 7.5, 8 to 1 to win the division, 30 to 1 to win the conference, plus 185 to make the playoffs, and 50 to 1 for the Super Bowl. I can't get down with this team. I think Tomlin has a losing season this year if he can't decide on a quarterback by week 4.
Yeah. I kind of I disagree with you here with the Russ Wilson Justin Fields thing. I've never been a fan of Justin Fields. Um, he definitely changed my opinion a little bit last year. I think the kid does have some game. Um,
The raw
but
talent is there,
yeah,
period.
I mean the dude's a freak athlete. I just think Russ Wilson last year had like underratedly one of the best, not one of the best seasons, but one of the better seasons in the NFL. Like they weren't winning and they wanted to move on from him, so everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Russ Wilson sucks. Russ Wilson sucks." But I mean, he actually had a really good year. It was like 26, 27 touchdowns and under 10 picks. Like it's not a bad season. Um, I think Russ Wilson is definitely the more safe decision. Do I think that Justin Fields will have a couple packages on offensive, a couple RPOs and stuff like that? I think it's going to be like kind of like a two QB type of thing. I think Russ Wilson will take a majority of it out of the gate, but I think Justin Fields could have a couple of packages in there. Um, but yeah, I think this team has a little bit of spunk. I mean, great defensive team. Um, Pickens slightly overrated in my opinion as well. Um, Najee Harris overrated. I don't know. I don't like this team. They win, so I can't talk a whole lot of shit. Um, 7.5. I lean the over just because Tomlin doesn't know how to lose less than 9 games. But um, the last 4 years, I've said they're going to go under win. So my opinion hasn't changed a whole lot over the years with the Steelers team. They just haven't really gotten that guy offensively that's like, wow, this team can be really good. We'll see though. We'll see how the QB situation pans out. But
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of.
yeah,
I
and
I, I don't I don't hold on.
there's no way. There's no way they go 5-1 in the division again.
No,
There's not a
exactly my
shot.
point.
So if you take that out of play, if they go say 2-4, they're
According to
seven. They're
PFF,
7-10 last year.
according to PFF, they have the ninth ranked offensive line, which should help Russ, but I still think he's better when he can scramble, and I just don't think he can move that much anymore.
No, he definitely can. I mean, his legs were a massive part of his tenure in Seattle, being
Yeah.
able to evade pressure and
And
throwing a run or
I just personally think, look, I get it. You're gonna start the veteran, fine, but you can't skate along. You haven't won a playoff game since 2016. You can't skate along with 10 wins
yeah,
in a wild card spot and lose again.
yeah,
Like as good as Mike Tomlin is, something's got to change.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can only be so just barely above mid for so long.
Yeah. So I predicted them low, 7-10.
Yeah,
If if they go 4 weeks, they start 3 out of 4 on the road. We'll go through the schedule here.
yeah. Let me pull up.
At Atlanta, I think I gave them a win here, only because I think it's going to take Atlanta a little bit to figure it out with all the new pieces that they have.
Yeah, like coaching wise too. I mean, that plays a huge factor, especially in a
So
week
I
one.
gave them
In the
a
week
win.
one.
I gave them a win at Atlanta. Then they go to Denver. I gave them a loss,
Mm-hmm.
1-1 at home versus the Chargers. I think I gave them a loss, and then they're at Indy, which I gave them a win.
Okay.
So say they go 2-2, but they could easily go 1-3.
I think they could easily go 0-4.
They could also go 0-4, which is my point.
Three
So
three road games. That's a tough start. I mean, not
then you go
greatest of teams, but
then you go back home against the Cowboys and you have a decision to make. If Russ is the problem and he's thrown 2 touchdowns and 4 picks through 4 weeks, hypothetically, why wouldn't you put Justin Fields in?
Yeah, I mean, if Russ has two below average games throughout the year, I think week 3 home against the Chargers, we can see Fields starting that game.
So
I don't think Tomlin's scared at all to put Fields in. Like, if
no,
Russ is not playing to par, then they're gonna give Fields a chance, 100%.
yeah. All right, so we'll give him 2-2.
Yeah, that's generous, but I think it's fair. It's fair.
Um, home versus Dallas is a loss, two and
Yeah.
three. At the Raiders, we'll give him 3-3. Home versus the Jets, 3-4. Home versus the Giants, 4-4.
Yep.
Then you go to Washington, 5-4. Home versus Baltimore, 5-5. At Cleveland, 5-6. At Cincy, 5-7. Home versus Cleveland. It's divisional game. That's the only thing that's holding me up.
It's the Browns that own the Steelers the last couple of years, correct? Is
Uh,
that
I think they
am I completely?
own. I don't. I think it's Joe Burrow in the Bengals. Joe Burrow's only beaten the Browns one time in his career.
Ah, that's what it is. Okay. That's what it
So
is.
they're
Okay.
5-7. We'll say 6-7 home
Yep. Yeah.
in a
Give them that.
divisional game. 6-7. Then at Philly, 6-8. At Baltimore, 6-9. Home versus the Chiefs, 6-10. I'm missing a game here.
I
Home
know.
versus Cincy. Oh yeah, 6-10. Yeah, home versus Cincy. 7-10 if they don't play their players and they split with Cincy. So yeah, that's my 7-10 prediction.
Um, after going through the schedule, I'm gonna do it.
You take the over.
I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna bet under 7.5 wins.
I actually love that.
That's a tough schedule.
Yeah, I mean they play arguably one of the best divisions, if not the best division in the NFL.
Yeah, and then before you even, dude, they don't have a divisional game until week 11.
No, that can't be right.
No, that's right. They go week 11 Ravens,
Yeah.
12
Wow.
Browns, 13 Bengals, 14 Browns, then Ravens 16, 18 Bengals. That's 6 games. Yeah. They have between week 11 and week 18, it is all division. That is insane.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then with the 2 games they don't play the division, it is Eagles and the Chiefs.
hmm
Dude, this is under 7.5, 100%.
I'll be joining you on that actually.
That is a score. I'm putting that in right now. After looking at the schedule, holy shit.
Yep.
And like at the beginning, and like they have to go 2-2 at the start of the year for them to even come
Yeah.
close to the
Two
over.
and two with 3 games on the road.
With 3 games on the road against a good Falcons team. And I
A
mean,
Russ,
Broncos and Colts, meh, but like
maybe a
prospects
Russell
to
Wilson
play.
game best.
Damn, yeah, I love that. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, this team should suck.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like looking at the schedule, it's under, 100%. This team's not gonna be very good. But then it's like, oh, their defense keeps them in games. Tomlin's a good coach, so like, how many of those one score games are they going to end up winning? But
Probably a
I
couple.
think just off the schedule and playing 6 division games a week 11 post, this team's going to be grinding. I don't see it, man. I do not see them getting 8 wins.
Yeah, I don't either. Well, speaking of this division, we go to the Browns. 11-6 last year, 3-3 in the division. Win total this year is 8.5. plus 550 to win the division, 20-1 to win the NFC, plus 145 to make the playoffs, and 40-1 to win the Super Bowl, which I don't hate, to be honest. 40-1 is pretty crazy, especially in this division,
Yeah.
but don't hate it. Anyways, they added Jameis back up to Sean, who is obviously injury ridden. He's played 12 games in the past 2 years for the Browns. They add Zadarius Smith on the defensive side, Jordan Hicks, Donta Foreman, with Nick Chubb being out, and they obviously have Jerome Ford. They also add Naeem Hines, a defensive special teams player, and possibly third string running back, third down type of guy, Devin Bush in a linebacker core. So
Yeah.
they made some good additions. Joe Flacco saved their season last year. Um, Myles Garrett in this defense, in my opinion, is Super Bowl worthy.
Oh, 100%.
But again, I say Deshaun Watson has played 12 games in 2 years after signing the biggest guaranteed contract in NFL history. And to be honest with you, right before he got injured last year, I think he was showing flashes of his old self when he was in Houston and at Clemson.
Yeah.
He has the talent, but he hasn't been able to stay on the field. I like Kevin Stefanski as a coach, but the quarterback question mark is just too much for me to buy in on this team
Yep.
in a tough division. He needs to stay on the field. He needs to play 5, 6, 7 games in a row and stay on the field to get into a rhythm. I know the talent that he has. He won a national championship with Clemson, right? Did he?
No, I don't think so.
No, either way. He was awesome and he brought the Texans to life. Uh he was the guy, but he just has not been on the field after all the shit that's happened. So I predicted them at 10-7, and I said 10-7 with Deshaun playing all 17 games. The roster is stacked. Nick Chubb. There's rumors of him coming back in week 4, 5, 6 ish,
Yep.
but it's not something I'm gonna put my money on.
No, that was a
Again,
gruesome injury.
I questioned the Super Bowl odds only for possible edge play at 40-1. It's a big number if Deshaun stays healthy and Nick Chubb comes back on time. But again,
No,
I just
I
I
mean,
can't
yeah,
buy in.
there's two factors with Watson. It's staying healthy and being. I'm not asking for 100% of what he was. I'm asking if he's 85% of what he was and stays healthy, this team can be really, really good.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, the defense, like I said, the defense is Super Bowl worthy. It's
mhm.
Myles Garrett and TJ Watt are the best defensive players in the league. With Aaron Donald gone, those are the two guys, and Myles Garrett is an absolute game wrecker. But
Yeah, he's a beast.
you need a quarterback. You need a quarterback in this league, period. Point blank. And
Mhm.
if Watson can't stay on the field, then this team has no fucking hope. So let's run through the schedule. I think I had them at what, 10-7? Yeah,
Yep.
10-7. And they start at home versus the Cowboys. I probably gave them a loss here, 0-1.
I'm thinking I would give him a dub here. What's the spread? I mean, they're 2.5 point favorites.
All right, we can do that.
Let's give him a win. Come on.
1-0 at Jacksonville. I have them 2-0. I'm not high on the Jags this year. I think the Jags are. I like T-Law, but shit has not worked out. 2-0
Yeah.
home versus New York. 3-0 at the Raiders. 4-0 at the Commanders. Uh,
Do we
yeah,
think? Do we
I
think
definitely
they're
gave
going
them a
5-0?
loss. I definitely gave them a loss at Dallas, but I don't see them going 5-0. So we'll give them a loss at Washington.
I mean, it's not the craziest. I mean, if they beat the Cowboys, they play. I mean, 3 of the next 4 games are Giants, Raiders, Commanders, but 3 of the next 4 are all the way. So, I mean, I wouldn't be completely shocked they went 5-0, but more than likely they're going to drop one of those games.
Yeah, so we'll put them at 4-1,
Yeah.
wherever that loss comes. But
Yep.
then
And
they go
then,
to Philly,
yeah.
4-2.
Hmm.
Home against Cincy, 4-3. Well, I have them splitting, so wherever you want to put it. So
Yeah.
we'll
So
say
fans,
5-3, and then give them the loss at Cincy. So 5-3, home versus Baltimore, 5-4. Is that right?
no, it's week 8.
6-4.
That's also not right. It's week 8. So let's say 4-1 through week 5. 4-2 Eagles, 5-2 Bengals,
5-2,
5-3 Ravens.
5-3, home against the Chargers, 6-3.
Yep.
At the Saints, 7-3, home versus Steelers. 8-3. At Denver, I could see them losing that game.
Yeah.
8-4 at Pittsburgh. I could see them losing that game.
Yep.
8-5, home versus Kansas City, 8-6. At Cincy, 8-7, home versus Miami, win 9-7, and then last week, I think I gave them a win. Split with Baltimore.
10-7.
Yeah.
I think they could win one of those games, Broncos or Steelers, too.
Yeah.
Back-to-back away games. So, yeah, I'd say 10, 11, right around there. They have a tough end of the season. Chiefs, Bengals, Dolphins, Ravens.
Yeah, and the win total is low, but I think that reflects the situation at quarterback, which is
Yeah,
why I don't want
for
to
sure.
wager on it.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to play anything on this.
He hasn't stayed. He played
Too much.
12.
There's too much unknown.
He's played 12 games in 2 years. I think he's a fucking stud when he stays on the field and stays healthy, but he hasn't done
He's
that.
he's played 12 games in the past 5 years.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
So,
Anyways, let's move on. All right.
yep.
So the next two teams are tied odds wise to win the division. Do you want to go Bengals first or Ravens first?
Let's go Bengals just based on the Ravens won the division last year.
Okay. So they went 9-8 last season. Joe Burrow obviously out. They went 1-5 in the division. Terrible. They have a win total of 10.5 this year, plus 145 to win the division, which I took. I like the Bengals this year. 7-1 to win the AFC, minus 260 to make the playoffs, and 13-1 to win the Super Bowl. They add Sheldon Rankings on the defensive side, Mike Gesicki at tight end after losing Hayden Hurst, Zach Moss in the backfield after losing Joe Mixon, Geno Stone in the defensive backfield, Von Bell in the defensive backfield. They drafted a tackle out of Georgia, Amarius Mims, to protect Burrow. Chris Jenkins, a defensive tackle out of Michigan. Burrow's back healthy this year, so that's huge.
Slim
This
Burrow.
this team has been known to get off to a slow start, but he had an appendix, he had his knee injury. 3 out of the 4 years he's been in the league, he's not been healthy to start the season. Obviously the Jamar Chase contract situation is a concern. I think he'll play and it will get solved within the next couple days because we're Wednesday night here.
Yeah, it better.
Um, they also drafted a tight end out of Iowa. They've been lacking at that position for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They picked up 3 free agents, Mike Gesicki, one other, and they drafted one.
Yep.
And they focused on bolstering their offensive and defensive line, the draft pick and free agency. I think if Joe Burrow stays healthy and Jamar Chase signs a contract and or plays, even if he's not on a new deal, I think this team can win the division, and that's why I took them at plus 145 with even odds against the Ravens. I predicted them at 13-4.
That's a lot of wins.
Yeah, I think they can win. I think they can win 10 games plus easily. I think they can get the number one seed possibly in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and 13-1 is not the worst odds for me to win the Super Bowl. I do not hate it.
Yep.
I'm high on this team. I love Joe Burrow. I think, I mean, he's what, the only quarterback besides Brady to beat Mahomes down the stretch in the playoffs?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's the only one.
I think you're right.
So he stays healthy, and goddamn, this team is not to be messed with.
No, definitely not. No, I like the Bengals. I think last year was a definitely a great under spot for Bengals. So I think this is kind of similar to like this year might be similar to like the Lions could be like a similar team to them. Just based off of like oh the Bengals went all the way to the Super Bowl, Joe Burrow, yada yada yada. And I just don't see them getting up to that point again. I don't know. I don't know why, but I just don't see 13-4. I definitely see them at least 10. They're a good enough team. Um, but I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, let's run through the schedule. They're home against New England. That's a win.
Dude, you gotta give the Pats some cred, dude.
No, I want the Pats to win 0 games this year.
I
What
can't
what what do you expect us to accomplish?
I can't root
0.
for a tank, dude. Come on.
I'm not rooting for a tank. I'm rooting for us to lose every game by 3 points.
Fair.
We suck. You'll see it later in my AFC predictions.
Oh God.
Anyways, they beat the Patriots at home week 1. Then they go to Kansas City 1-1.
Yep.
Home against the Commanders 2-1. At Carolina 3-1. Home versus Baltimore. I have them winning that game for a 4-1 start.
Okay.
At the Giants 5-1. At the Browns 5-2. Home versus the Eagles 6-2. Home versus the Raiders 7-2. At the Ravens 7-3.
Okay.
At the Chargers 8-3. Home
Oh.
versus Steelers 9-3. At the Cowboys 9-4. At the Titans 10-4. Home versus the Browns 11-4. Home versus the Broncos 12-4. And at Pittsburgh 13-4.
Okay. I mean, that schedule is not bad at all.
Nope, it is not.
Especially, I mean, at the beginning, they play Pats, Commanders, Panthers 3 out of the 4 weeks. And then week
Yeah,
6,
and
they
they're,
play
like I
the
said, they're
Giants.
quote unquote known for getting off to a slow start, and they have a cakewalk.
Yeah.
They'll probably lose to Kansas City in Kansas City, which
Hmm.
everybody expects that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I see this team bulldozing the schedule. And like I said, I think they have a chance to get the number one seed.
Yeah. This is definitely a favorable schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, weeks 10 through 15 are tough. You got at Ravens, at Chargers, home Steelers, at Cowboys, at Titans. So 4 out of 5 games on the road. So if they can get 3 of those at
I'm
least.
not I'm not worried about the Chargers or the Titans or really even Dallas, to be honest.
Okay.
I think this team rolls.
All right.
And
Fair, Frisky.
I played the division at plus 145, and I will probably play the Super Bowl too. 13 to
13 to
1.
13 to 1.
I might wait till after week 2 when they play the Chiefs to see if it changes a little bit, but I'll probably play the Super Bowl. I think
Mhm.
if Joe plays a full season, it's going to be scary hours for most of the league.
Mhm.
All right, to the Ravens.
The Ravens.
13-4 last season, 3-3 in the division. Win total this year 10.5 plus 145, even with the Bengals to win the division, plus 550 to win the AFC compared to the Bengals, who were plus 700. So same odds to win the division, but a significant difference in the conference. Minus 260 to make the playoffs, 10 to 1 to win the Super Bowl, which is also a pretty significant difference.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So yeah, that was definitely a distinction that I noticed, and I think that's why I sided for the Bengals. Obviously, they added Derrick Henry in the backfield, losing Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins to the Chargers. They re-signed Kyle Van Noy, and the only other notable addition I had was Josh Jones, who I believe is somewhere on the defensive side of the ball.
Hmm.
We don't have to get into specifics here. They were a Super Bowl caliber team in 2023. They had Derrick Henry. Everything on paper looks really good. They have the 26th ranked offensive line on according to PFF. This is my worry. I know how good Lamar is. I know how good the scheme is. I know how good the defense always is. But the 26th ranked offensive line for a team that loves to run the ball, adding a power back, doesn't really make me feel good. They lost 3 of their 5 starters, and now they bring in a bunch of young talent who is unproven and really hasn't started in a run first offense. That being said, Lamar will have to have another MVP season to lead this team over their 10.5 win total. And one of my favorite plays for awards is Lamar Jackson to win the MVP at 20 to 1. He's going to have to do a lot more than people would think this year with a less than average offensive line.
Hmm.
And he's 20 to 1, and he's already won the award, what, twice?
Yeah,
Right?
two-time MVP.
So I love that play. I still think the Ravens will be, I mean, they'll be in the playoffs, but I think it's going to be a Lamar show.
Yeah, and we know what happens with that when it gets to the playoffs. So
Mm-hmm. But the MVP is a regular season award, and you can get Lamar Jackson at 20 to 1. And I
yep,
took that.
fair. Fair. No, what's not the only thing not to like about the Ravens is as you said, the offensive line for a team that relies so heavy on the run. They definitely could struggle a little bit offensively in that regard, but I mean, Lamar is bar none the best at evading pressure and what's the word I'm looking for here? Um,
He's Superman,
yeah, he freestyles in the pocket. He just does whatever the
Mhm.
hell he wants, and he's a freak athlete, and it works out for him.
and he's going to have to
Um,
do it this year more than ever.
yeah. I'm blank. I mean, they have wide receivers. They have the dude from
Rashad Bateman, Zay
BC, Rashad
Jones.
Bateman, Zay Jones.
No, not Zay Jones.
Who's the dude from BC? I can't think
From
of his name.
BC, Zay
It's
Flowers. Zay
Zay
Flowers.
Flowers.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, it's just not a receiving core that's going to scare a lot of people. Yeah, they got some talent.
Mark Andrews is
Um,
healthy though.
yeah, Mark Andrews, what'd you say?
Mark Andrews is healthy.
Yes, and he's a game changer tight end, but I also don't think he's. I don't know. I just don't love him. There's something about it doesn't smell good.
No, it's scary, and that's why I took the Bengals to win the division.
Yeah,
But if the Ravens are the Ravens that I know, and Lamar is what I believe he is, I think 20-1 is a great fucking deal for him to win the MVP.
yeah, especially for a two-time MVP winner.
He's gonna have to do it all. He'll probably rush for 1,000 yards again this year because he's gonna have to move around.
Yeah,
This line doesn't have any chemistry. They're young and unproven, like I said, and
yeah,
Lamar is Lamar. As long as he doesn't get hurt, he's gonna put up incredible numbers.
yep.
With that and with that whole concern, I still predicted them at 12-5.
Fair. I don't know.
Just
I think this is a pretty sharp 10.5.
yeah, I don't like the win. I don't like the win total, but that's why I took Lamar MVP because it's going to be all Lamar, and they start the season at the Chiefs, which I did give them a win. I did.
Yuck, dude. Think
Banner
so?
night. We saw it last year. They lost to the Lions.
I don't see it. I don't see it back-to-back years. Sorry.
That's okay. We can go. We can even go 0-1, and I'm still going to get to 12 wins somehow.
you you'll find a way.
So we'll say 0-1. They lose to Kansas City tomorrow night or tonight if you're watching, because that's when the video is going to be up.
Yep.
Uh, then they're home against the Raiders, 1-1. At the Cowboys, 2-1. Home versus the Bills.
Dude, do you think the Cowboys are a bad team?
No, but they can't beat better teams, and I think the Ravens are a better team.
Okay. I just wanted to get your opinion because every time one of these teams plays out the Cowboys, and you're like, oh, automatic win. It's gonna be a good game for this
No,
game.
it's not automatic. Yeah, it will be, but I think Baltimore is a better team. Wow.
I mean,
You can get it. You can. By the way, you can get a ticket for that game for $41. What does that tell you?
what game?
Ravens at Cowboys.
Wow.
$41 if you want to sit there. Every other game is above $80
So why is that one so cheap?
because the Cowboys suck dick.
Fuck the
Anyways,
Cowboys.
2-1, home versus Buffalo. Because they're home, I gave them the win here, so 3-1.
Okay.
Another good game. At Cincy loss, 3-2. Home versus Washington, 4-2. At Tampa Bay, 5-2. At Cleveland, we'll let them split, so 5-3. Home versus Denver, 6-3. Home versus Cincy, 7-3. At Pittsburgh, 8-3. At LA, 9-3. Home versus Philly, 9-4.
That
At New
that
York,
Chargers game is gonna be sick.
yes. At New York, 10-4. Home versus Pittsburgh, 11-4. At Houston, 11-5. Home versus Cleveland, 12-5.
Okay.
And my prediction was 12-5.
Yeah. I I think this is a very difficult schedule. Very difficult schedule. At Chiefs, at Cowboys, at Chargers, at Texans. That's four tough road games outside the division.
Yeah.
And you play all three division teams on the road too. So it's seven fucking. Oh, I should watch my language. Seven hard road games this year for them. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited for that Chargers game. Um, Harbaugh brothers going at it, coaching
I know,
again.
yeah, I know when we did AFC West, we took the Chargers over win total,
Yeah,
but I do think it's going to take them a year or so to really get into the Jim Harbaugh
yeah. No,
mind.
I agree with you there. I definitely agree with you. I don't think they're going to be
And
world
be
beaters by
honest,
any means, but
to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of not that I'm not a fan of it, but the LA home game is not really a home game to me. There's no real fan base there,
yeah, I feel that.
split between the Rams and the Chargers, so
Yeah,
I give more weight to even like a at Pittsburgh game in the division than I would at the Chargers, who I think are
yeah.
better, but there's no real home
Dude,
field.
I think that's so dumb how they share a stadium. Like,
No,
fuck that, dude.
and there's more Rams fans there than there. Well, I don't know.
All the
I
Rams
should.
fans are in St. Louis, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say San Diego, but still, I feel like there's more Rams fans in LA. Well, that's it. I gave my picks. Bengals to win the division. Lamar MVP. I think those are solid picks.